Greetings to everyone out there in YouTube land. I'm Ahmed Hassanin, and I just want to give a shout out to Coach Dan. Thank you for all the support you show the team and the players. Everyone hit the like, subscription button, and yell woo in the comments. Thank you, and go Lions.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host, once again, Dan Thornton. Want to thank you all for joining us here today. Lions Talk Live, Tuesday morning show edition. And you know what? We've got a little something to talk about. As you guys get it during the middle of the week, sometimes news can be a little bit slow. So sometimes you got to Scooby-Doo and find the news where you can. What we can say is the Lions may have caught an extra draft pick for this upcoming NFL draft. And while they're still in the playoff hunt, hey, it's not too early to talk about the fact that the Lions have added some draft capital while making a playoff push. In my personal opinion, yes, I do think the Lions are going to win this upcoming Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Some of you would have watched that game last night, and it's no disrespect to the Miami Dolphins or the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just watched that matchup. I watched both teams. I've seen the Steelers a few times this year. My humble thoughts, it's not that the Lions aren't one of the better teams in the NFL. I just think they're not maybe the Rams or Philadelphia Eagles. With that being said, I would think all of us can agree Lions have the ability to beat the NFL's best teams. They just need one or two, maybe three plays to go their way during the course of the game. When I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think they're a notch or two below the Detroit Lions. That's why, spoiler alert for this weekend's prediction from Dan O'Damas, I think you're going to see the Lions have a real nice game Sunday. That's going to set up a big Christmas present for everybody as we watch the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions. We'll be going into 5 headlines now. By the way, part of those 5 headlines now will be the main top of the day because the Lions are going to add some draft capital where maybe not too many of us saw that possibly as a potential situation for it, but they're going to have one more draft pick because of some moves they made this offseason. So they're going to have a chance to get the playoffs while adding draft capital. You know, works for me. Before we get into all that, though, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We are 19 subs away from 15,800. If you could assist with that, that would be most welcome and awesome of you. Also, if you have a half second of time, doesn't cost anything. It's free of charge. Reach on over, hit the thumbs up button, the like button, hit all the buttons on your respective screens or devices. We try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more. Thumbs up or likes. Last, never least, if you are considering buying or selling property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, where I reside, or the continental United States of America, go ahead and give me a call. Shoot me a text. You see the number on your screen, 269-998-2384. Have that quick conversation. See what I can do to bring over 30 years in the industry, save you hassle, save you money. Make sure you're getting the best deal possible, whether buying property, selling property. You guys get it. If it's anything real estate related, go ahead and reach out to me. See what I can do for you. I know a number of you guys do, but, hey, sometimes you got to advertise, right? All right, all that done, set out of the way. Let's get this show kicking off, rock and rolling, G.I. Joe going, and starting with 5 headlines now. All right, 5 headlines now. I do not know if Anthony from Roar the Lions UK will be joining us today. I did send him a link, but I know his work schedule as of late's been, all over the place. So if he joins us, great. If not, then hey, I got a few extra minutes to read through the Duke Crew comment section. All right, first one here. Jared Goff's incompletions against the Rams show us just how good a quarterback he is. Story by Mike Payton, A to Z Sports. Let this sink in. And I get we all have our different opinions. Some of you love Jared Goff. Some of you hate Jared Goff. I try to be as analytical as possible and try to remove emotions. When I go out scouting for players, athletes, and whatever to play at the professional level, I have to use the eye test. What I could say when I give the eye test to Jared Goff, There's no throw he can't make in the NFL. Yes, he is not a mobile quarterback. If your requirements for an NFL quarterback is mobility, he's not your guy. What I can also say is some will bring up the mobility part, and I just don't think if you're going to win a Super Bowl, the mobility is, number one. You can go through a laundry list in the last 10 years of mobile-based quarterbacks and how many of them won Super Bowls. Mobility doesn't hurt, but it's like anything else with an athlete. The more abilities you have, the tougher you are to play against. Jared Goff, I think for what the Lions got him for, which is basically nothing, maybe a Mountain Dew, you got an absolute win. You've got one of the top 5, in my view, does not need to be your view, quarterbacks in the NFL. He's incredibly resistant from injury. He's tall. He's big. Some people point out his hands. I just don't think it's a big deal, but, to each their own devices. When he's on fire, here's what I've noticed from running this show over the past couple of years. When he's having big games, nobody says anything about him. It's only when he has a bad game like he does against Philadelphia that, hey, everybody, now it's this issue, that issue. Here's my opinion. There's a whole lot of people over in Kansas City that are wishing that their quarterback was as durable as Jared Goff. If you didn't know, Patrick Mahomes tore up an ACL. Sorry to hear that. Hope he has a quick recovery. But he's probably going to miss a big portion of next season because of it. You're looking at typically 8 to 9 months for base recovery. Yes, I have coached one kid. I shouldn't say kid, but one athlete over this my lifetime that came back in 4 months. That's probably not happening at the NFL level. They're going to safeguard Patrick Mahomes. You can say the same thing with Micah Parsons. But here's what we can say with Goff. There used to be questions about his ability to throw the ball downfield. What have you seen this year? Him and Jameson Williams, amongst others, have gotten a lot more rhythm and sync throwing the deep ball. He actually doesn't look too bad at it, in my opinion. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL. And even some of his bad throws, using Sunday as an example, the incompletion, some of those were by design. He had to roll out of the pocket. He either got read A or B or throw it away. That's what he did. And for the totality, in my view, rewatching the game, the vast majority of his incompletions are from throwaways. They're not from missed throws. So what do you want most in a quarterback? My view, it's accuracy. You need somebody who can put the ball on the target. He does that in droves. Jared Goff's probably got another 5 to 6. Who knows, man, if he wants to try to pull a Phillip Rivers or I guess a Matt Stafford, he might have 8 more years in Detroit. And you know what? That selection or gaining of him in that trade probably looks even better and better. All right, moving on to the next one. Not good news if you're a Detroit Lions secondary fan, but Detroit Lions cornerback, lowest PFF graded player against Rams, SI.com, story by John Macron. I also want to give a shout out to my brother, Tim. He sent these over to me yesterday. Everybody has their own opinions on PFF. I think you take them with some, a grain of salt, but they have metrics, definitely, when evaluating players. I don't always agree with the metrics, but not everybody agrees with me either. Let's walk through these and see what the Duke has to say. Highest PFF graded offensive players, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams. Check that out. Not a surprise to see St. Brown listed as an elite level performer. Those who don't know, 90 and above per PFF grades is considered elite. You are the creme a la creme across the NFL. St. Brown, elite. Jameson Williams, okay, obviously he's 0.7% from being 90, but you get it. 89.3, you're elite. We'll just throw that in there. The Lions going forward the next several years have perhaps the best starting combo for wide receivers in the NFL. And you can definitely say, hey, maybe you could say the Rams, starting wide receiver duo of Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua are in that mix. Sure, throw them in there. There'll be some other people. Maybe the Cowboys have some guys in there. But what we can all agree on is the Detroit Lions have amongst the best tandem in the NFL. And I do think, even though he's on one of the lower ones here, I do think Tesla probably year 2 or year 3 will kind of emerge, sort of like you've seen with Jay Powell, Jay Williams. And then you got the Lions having 3 guys that can really fly, get open, and catch the ball. Looking into the rest of this year and beyond, I think the Lions are pretty set up at wide receiver. Jared Goff, just talking about him, not an elite grade, but a very, very good grade at 84.1. Dave Montgomery, you saw it with your eyes. We talked about it during the game, the live cast. We talked about it yesterday. Why didn't he get more run, more glory, more reps? I don't know. That's something really only the Detroit Lions coaching staff can talk about. But he was a 78.5, and then Penei Sewell, hey, we get it. He's one of the best players in the NFL. He had a 76.1. lowest graded offensive players. Ricci, he had that one massively big holding call that negated a drive early in the game. Or I should say early in the third quarter, excuse me. It's unfortunate, but he's not really an NFL level tight end, but because the Lions don't have anybody else, he's out there. Colleen, you heard me talk about it during the live cast. I know a bunch of you guys threw it out there. I was surprised he got as many reps as he did. My opinion, he's not very good, and that's my huge opinion. You can obviously see that grade reflects that as well. Tesla, going back trying to figure out why their grades on him was this low, it would appear to be some of it just route structure. Maybe didn't round things out well enough. His blocking, I actually thought was pretty good. Not elite level, but pretty good, especially from a rookie wide receiver. Anthony Fisker, probably the best of the tight ends out there at a 50, so not great by any stretch of the imagination. Graham Glasgow, I think we all understand this is probably his swan song out there. He's giving you everything he can out on the football field. It's no disrespect to the guy's career. It's just Father Time is undefeated. All right, let's go to the defensive side of things. Highest graded defensive players. Ain't going to be many here, but Aiden Hutchinson, another elite performance. Everybody can say the Lions, I shouldn't say everybody, but there are some in the Duke crew and national media think the Lions overpaid for him. I respectfully disagree. I think he's not elite at any one aspect of the game, but he's dang good at a whole lot of areas of the game. That's just my humble opinion. You look at how many career interceptions he has now, and he's, 4 years in the league, and he's got like 4 or 5 picks. That says something. Not many defensive ends go their entire career with that kind of production from picking the ball off, yet he does it. He gets quarterback sacks. He gets hits on the quarterback pressures, whatever you want to call them nowadays. He just does a lot of good, especially in run defense as well. Safety, Avonte Maddox. I think all of us would agree if you watch the performance and watch the all 22 film, he's all over the place. You could see why the Philadelphia Eagles did not want to lose him. We talked about it when the Lions signed him. He's a cornerback who can play safety or a safety that can play cornerback, and he hits like a missile. For a guy that's not the biggest dude, I think he's a pretty nice replacement for Brian Branch, and that's what you're going to get going forward. All right, Jack Campbell next with a 75.6. Not his best performance of the season, but a very stable one out there. Roy Lopez, hey, all this guy does is get to the quarterback and make sacks from the interior line. And for a backup, what more could you ask? It'll be interesting to see this offseason. Do they re-sign him? I wouldn't object to it. We'll see what the Brad Holmes ultimately does. He had a 65.2. Trevor Nowaski in special teams and some coverage unit responsibilities, 64.4. Now the rest of the story as Paul what was Paul's last name? I can't remember. But you guys know the guy that used to do the radio broadcast. Anyways, lowest graded, DJ Reed, not even a 30. Let that sink in. And this will tie into the main topic of the day, by the way. DJ Reed, I think it's fair to say since he's come back from the hamstring injury, he has struggled and struggled mightily. Before the hamstring injury, I'd say he was playing lights out. But after that injury, man, something has changed. Derek Barnes, my opinion does not need to be your opinion. Second straight week, he's basically laid an egg. Derek Barnes has not looked good for 2 straight games. Hopefully he gets that turned around. Marcus Davenport, if you didn't see him on the field, you would probably be forgiven. I think he did have 1 pressure, though. Raquel Singh, again, not a great performance from a Lions cornerback. He had been playing pretty well in recent weeks. Recent weeks was not last week's. Lee McNeil, he's also, I think some of his grade, why it was lower, is because he was asked to play the big end once again because the Rams went 13 and 14 personnel, try to force the Lions, hey, if you don't put the right people out there, we're going to run it down your throat. If you do put those right people out there, we're going to play action passing. I thought the Rams did a real good job. Given that, all you can say about it, the Rams forced a lot of teams, I should say, into bad situations, and Aleem McNeil was probably the byproduct of some bad situations. All right, next one on the list here. Let's see, Detroit Lions on fading playoff hopes. We're not in the dumps. Dave Burkett, Detroit Free Press, and nor should they be. And I know Dan Campbell talked about this in his presser yesterday. We're not in the dumps. We're not down on ourselves. We haven't given up or anything like that. Everybody's got a reason to think the Lions are going to struggle to win 3 straight games. Let's face it. We haven't won back-to-back games in like 2 months. That being said, what's happened in the past is not prelude to the future. That's one thing you always hear about when you're coaching or whatever your job is. Whatever you've done in the past doesn't mean jack today. It doesn't carry over. What we can say is the Lions have an opportunity. that offense, when you go back to these PFF offensive grades, you guys get it. Whether you want to throw Gibbs on this list, whether you want to throw Goff, St. Brown, Williams, Tesla, whoever else, Lions offense is definitely the best in the NFL right now. It's tough to stop. You could say the Rams can be more difficult to stop because of their ability to mix up the run in the pass. Credit to them for that. But the Lions are going to come into these last 3 games probably looking to put up a whole lot of points. At the end of the day, if Dave Burkett spot on with this, he points out in the article, he does think the Lions can go 3-0. Yes, the last 2 months kind of lead some of us away from thinking that's a possibility anymore. But I would just say Lions are going to have a whole lot to play for each game they win. They win Sunday, they're going to have more of a reason to play on Christmas Day. You play on Christmas Day and win, now you've got another mini bye with 10 days before you play the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears very much may not have anything to play for in that last game. We're going to have to pay attention. I know I mentioned it yesterday morning show. I actually think the Green Bay Packers lose out their last 4 games. They've been decimated by injuries. I know some of you are going to say, hey, Brad Holmes should have went all in to get this guy, that guy. A lot of you the last 2 years wanted Brad Holmes to, skip them picks, get Trey Hendrickson. We can always play, revisionist theorist, GM on the bench now and say, hey, that obviously would not have been a good move. Micah Parsons, phenomenal addition to the Green Bay Packers. Unfortunately for the Packers, he's not going to play the rest of this year, and he's probably going to miss at least half, if not 75% of next year. We'll have to wait and see what shakes out with him. But in regards to the playoff hopes, I do think the Lions are going to win this week. That week leads to Christmas Day. Christmas Day, now you got 10 days. And yes, buys haven't been good to us, but you got 10 days to rest up, get ready for Chicago. And I do think the Bears have a real strong possibility of not needing that game, other than maybe Ben Johnson saying, hey, I want to get one on Dane Campbell. Here's what I'd throw out, though. If that holds water, Green Bay Packers lose out the rest of the way. Lions get in by winning the last 3 games. Chicago Bears don't need that last game at all. They're probably resting guys or only playing a half or whatever it may be. I guess if I'm Ben Johnson, I wonder who I want to face in the playoffs, because there's a real possibility you could be the number 1 or number 2 seed going into that game, win or lose. Now, do you start playing chess pieces and say, hey, if we give the Lions the win and let them in, who's out, who matches up here and there? There's going to be a whole lot of things that go into the next 3 weeks and potentially setting up that final game of the regular season. All right, tanking is not an option for the Lions. Not because it goes against the culture, but because it won't work. A to Z Sports, Mike Payton with this one. I think he's spot on with this story if you want to check it out. What's he talking about tanking? Well, if the Lions were to just lose out here, it doesn't really change their draft pick status too much. The best they could do, if the right teams move around, win this, that, and the other thing, is probably about the number 14th, 15th pick in the NFL draft. If they win out and miss the playoffs, they're going to be around number 18 to 19, somewhere in that range. So you're talking just a 2 to 3, maybe 4, if you're really lucky, or 5 draft pick swing. And yes, getting to the number 14th pick would require a whole lot of help. So it's more likely, win or lose, the Lions are going to be selecting between 15 and we'll just say 18 to 19, somewhere in that barometer. With that being said, would you rather have the Lions lose out and try to play for draft pick status? Or would you like to say, hey, Lions win out, finish with 11 wins. If they finish with 11 wins, for those who don't know, you have a 94% chance of making the postseason. So yes, my humble opinion, you win out, you're going to get into the playoffs. If they go 2-1, you're probably not getting in the playoffs. Does it really change your draft pick status? Probably not. Does it change the culture somewhat? I would say yes. Long-suffering Lions fans have been here for decades, eons, whatever metrics you want to say, knowing that the Lions just can't win, can't be consistent. You win one more game this year, one of the last 3, you will have your 4th straight winning season. That will be the first time since the 1950s that has happened. You want to complain, hey, we're not good, we don't do this. You know what? The only thing I can say to you guys is look at the Minnesota Vikings. Last year, what was their record? What is it now? You kind of get the point. The Kansas City Chiefs? They're not going to make the playoffs this year, and they're going to have a bad record, and they've got a lot of aging players who probably got to get out of here. But yes, they did get a bunch of Super Bowls in the last 10 years. You can go around the league, and you see it's just how hard it is to be consistently good year in and year out. The fact that the Lions will have won for 4 straight years, it might not be groundbreaking to some franchises, but this is the Detroit Lions. We're always talking about we want to change the culture. We want to be relevant year in and year out, have a chance. If they win one more game, you will have achieved that winning wave for 4 straight years. You know what? You had a chance this year. We might have bungled a game here or there, a draft pick here and there, but from where it was for the last 20 or 30 years, my view does not need to be your view. It's a whole lot better than what it once was. So, all right, let's get into the main topic of the day. You know, is it the biggest news? No. Is it good news? I'd say yes. 1, 2, 3. Main topic of the day. All right, when the Lions signed DJ Reed, I think we'd all agree we had high expectations for him to pan out and be something for our secondary. Before the hamstring injury, he was just that. He was the number 1 cornerback for the Detroit Lions, and you could say he was great in run defense, pass defense. He was just playing at a pretty good level. I won't say elite, but a very good level, maybe just a notch below the elite cornerbacks. Then the injury happened. The last 3 weeks since he's returned, you saw those PFF grades earlier. I'll even bring it back up for you. You see it there in the lower section there in blue. That's not good. 30 is not good. But what might be good, segue from the bad to the good, is that if he plays every snap the rest of the way this year, even if the Lions get in the playoffs, he's not going to meet the required 48%, 48.5% of the snaps necessary for the Lions to not get a compensatory draft pick for his selection and the loss of Carlton Davis. I'm not going to get into all the CFA verbiage and everything, breaking it all down for why you would or would not get a compensatory pick. But the Lions are going to get, without a shadow of doubt, a compensatory pick for him, and it's going to be a 4th-round pick. Is that groundbreaking draft changing? No, probably not. But we talked about Brad Holmes getting Tesla, trading a bunch of 3rd-round picks. Look where the Lions are going to be drafting. It's going to be a probably later-ish 3rd-round pick for the acquiring team. You're now going to get a 4th-round pick. It's not the same value, I get it, but you're getting that number pick back. So you're going to have that pick back next year. Lions, what you're going to do with it, we'll worry about draft who, mock draft that, this, that, the other thing, free agent signing, whatever, when we get to it. But I do think this was part of the Lions' plan going forward when they made that selection. They probably understood, unfortunately, with our history, and this will be something we'll do in the offseason, why the Lions get so beat up at home. I've been working on that story a little bit here and there, but I'm saving it for the offseason. I'm not going to do it during the season. Lions are going to have some draft capital. We all get this past draft. I think most of us would agree it's pretty dang good. Maybe not elite, but it's pretty good. The 2024 draft, maybe not so much worked out for the Detroit Lions. Lions getting another draft pick, though, on the board is not going to hurt this team. We just talked about the Green Bay Packers. They went all in, trading 2 first-round picks for Micah Parsons. Yes, they got 80% of the season out of him, but now they're looking at him, a pass-rushing specialist who's one of the better ones in the league, can stop the run, tons of ability, not going to be around when it matters most, the final 3 games, and if they make the playoffs, he won't be available there. While next year, he's probably missing at least till, my opinion, is Thanksgiving. How much of the season is that? Roughly 75% of the season. You're giving up 2 draft picks for a guy that's not going to be around when it matters this year and potentially not going to impact the next year the greatest. Have your own opinions whether you should go all in for the picks or not. A lot of people say, well, look what the Rams did with Stafford. Let's not forget, the Rams nearly missed the playoffs that year because Stafford threw a more than a few pick sixes. It compelled the Rams to take whatever draft capital they had left and trade for Von Miller. That probably changed their defense exponentially. Even in the playoffs, the Rams nearly lost before the Super Bowl. We all probably remember Stafford threw 1 pass, and there was still like 8 minutes left in the game to the 49ers. 49ers safety dropped the would-be interception that potentially could have sealed the game, but who knows? So I guess where I'm going with this is Brad Holmes, the Detroit Lions, yes, they don't always, go say skip them picks. Yes, they probably do plan for some of these compensatory picks. And yes, just because you say skip the picks, get this guy, that guy, or whoever, doesn't mean it always pans out. All right, Duke, let's get over to you guys. We'll see if Anthony joins us here in about 5 minutes. If not, then you guys get more time with me reading comments. But give me your opinion on Brad Holmes. I mean, I know we get emotional sometimes when we make trades, don't make trades, going to trade deadline, we didn't do anything, free agent signing, we didn't get the big name. But take your emotions out of it. Review these last 5 years. Review the fact that we're now getting another 4th-round pick. It's not official yet, but there's no way DJ Reed's going to meet them bare minimum in order to negate that pick. Even if he played every snap on special teams and in the regular season, he's not going to hit it. So the Lions are going to get that pick. What are your thoughts on him? Is he the right man for Detroit? Are you glad with what he's done? Is it time to get rid of him? There's no wrong answers here, but give me your huge opinion on him. All right, let's get over to you guys, and let me scroll to the top of the screen, if you please. We'll see if Anthony joins us here. If not, then you got more time with me. Still scrolling, so give me a second here. Still moving on up the charts, and here we go. Trey, what's good, everybody? Question mark. The season really comes down to the next 12 days. Ooh, that's a good point. We got to go 2-0. Yes, if you win Sunday, and then on Christmas Day, 4:30-ish kickoff time, by the way, against the Minnesota Vikings. I think, man, that last game of the regular season, it's for everything. And you got a mini bye going into Chicago. Yes, it's going to be cold. Yes, who knows what's going to happen to the Chicago Bears. I think the Chicago Bears are going to win this week, which means obviously Green Bay Packers lose out this week. But then you look at the Green Bay Packers remaining schedule. If they win one game, I'd be pretty impressed with them. But I just think the Packers are on the wrong side of a lot of things. You got the receivers down. So looking at their schedule, okay, Packers going into Chicago. We'll see what shakes out this Sunday night. Now the Ravens come to the Packers. Ravens battling for a playoff life as they speak. We'll see what shakes out. And then the Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings. That's the one I'm not sure about. But the Vikings will have nothing to lose. Any trick play you want to throw out there, you can do it. And they do have enough, I think, on the offensive side to give the Packers some fits, especially now that Parsons is gone. We'll see, though. We'll see. Bo, good morning, Duke Crew. The villain knows the shadow-handed lurks against us. Exclamation point. Woo! I'll go with that, even though I probably murdered that. Sorry, Bo. Just screening aside, what did Brad do now? And now you know. And knowing is half the battle. Till the Hun. All right. Buttons freezing up on the screen here. We've had some internet issues lately at the house, and it's sorry if it's affecting me now. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and read it. Attila the Hun, is this about the compensatory? Yes, 4th-round pick the Lions can get from DJ Reed injury and how many games time snaps he missed. Correct with that. Conan the Barbarian. Hopefully, it's not freezing on your guys' screen. Is on my internet issues definitely here. All right, Conan the Barbarian. I thought Rodgers and the Steelers looked about 2 levels below the Rams, so we should them Sunday thoughts. I agree with you. It's no disrespect to any team. I think offense. The offense of the Detroit Lions, it's elite. It's the best in the NFL. I just don't think you can replicate that anywhere. I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't think they're elite at anything. I think they're good at a few things, but the Lions have a strength. Pittsburgh does not, in my opinion. Don't think he is fully recovered. Yeah, it could be that, Attila. I think he's pretty close, but, close in the NFL gets you ran over a lot. Detroit Matt, good morning, Duke Crew. I'm not impressed with the Steelers team. I like our chances at home this week. They are very beatable. I agree with that. I want to give a woo, there you go, for the Pistons being 21-5, beating the Celtics last night. Hey, how about that? The Pistons, they're in fuego this year. Attila, better win at home against an average team. I like the way you're thinking. Heath. Our secondary might be the issue. The secondary is beat up. We all get it, and they have not performed well, especially the last several weeks. Pierce, DK will cook against us. Let's hope not. Okay, good morning, Duke Crew. One pride. I wonder if Goodell sleeps in a one-piece footy pajamas with a hate Lions on him. Maybe he does. Maybe he does indeed. Jen, good morning, all. Exclamation point back at you, Pat. Morning, Duke Crew. Same to you, Pat. Dave. Unpopular view, but to me, if we can win this week and against the Vikings, then we'll have done all I can ask this season because the final game of the year means something. Hey, that's a good way to look at it. The final game of the year would mean absolutely something for the Detroit Lions in your scenario. Let's see if we can forecast that future. Pierce, sorry, good morning all, and same to you. Grady, the Lions have not lost back-to-back games yet, so feeling confident they will come back right against the Steelers. I think you are right there. Pierce, straight day, but when was the last time we won back-to-back games? I get it, but just because you didn't do it in the past doesn't mean you can't do it in the future. Good morning, Bo and Pierce. France, morning, Pierce Sargent. All right, been a couple months, it has been, but hey, I can also say this. Prior to this regime coming in, it had been decades before we made the playoffs, let alone won a playoff game. and then stop him. Hookadoo morning, dude, says Pierce. City Manley, good morning, Coach Fan and the Duke Crew. Hey, the Dan fan indeed. Pierce, France, good morning. Great day. A couple of months compared to a couple of years, Pierce Sargent. Great day. I like the trend of not losing back-to-back better than winning back-to-back. All right, I'll go there. Big Eddie, you're right, Pierce, but the past doesn't mean, the future can't happen unless we all believe this team will never win 2 in a row. I go there. Pierce, straight, not disagreeing with you, but for sure, but we need a run. We need a run indeed. Big Eddie, I think they can, but sustained momentum is needed. I concur. Pierce, and asking for the offense to drop 40 every week is unsustainable, something on defense needs to give. Yes, the defense needs to rise to the occasion. All right, we've got our man on deck, our special guest of the day. You know him, you love him, you gotta squeeze him. He is Jason Statham 2.0, I hear. Hey, I hear he's also getting his own statue out over there on the other side of the pond. Let's go over to Anthony from Royal Lions UK. Anthony, when's the first time you realized it hit you that you are an international superstar?
Oh, you know me. I'm a humble guy. I'm not a superstar. I'm one of the crowd, one of the pride. No more special than anybody else. If anything, stupid for following a sport over there and ruining my sleep schedule and life. But hope you're doing well. Hope all the Jew crew is doing well as well.
Well, I think we are. And I think we're all chomping the bit for these final 3 games. Break down these final 3 for the Detroit Lions. What do they have to do to get these wins? And do you think winning these last 3 gets you in the playoffs?
Winning the last 3 gets you in the playoffs, yeah. I mean, you've just got to it sounds silly, you've just got to go out there and win. You've got to put everything so far behind you, and you've just got to find 3 performances, put them together, and by any way, by hook or by crook, get there. And then when you get to the playoffs, who knows? I was very angry after the loss the other day. As can be, we've not done well against good teams and that this year. We've put ourselves in a bit of a bind, but I take my back to something I said to myself earlier in this year, and I'd be a hypocrite if I changed my view now, but all I said was the regular season doesn't matter. Right. As long as you get to the playoffs, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter how you get there. Last year, we won 15. We looked like the best team in the world, and then we got bounced in the first round. Like, getting there looking good is no success. You're going to do good when you get there. You've just got to make it. So at this point, we're still in a position where we can, and there's a lot to play for left this season right now. So we still got to be grateful. Get to the playoffs. Everyone gets a clean slate. No one looks at wins and losses when you get there. It's a 1-game shootout. That's all you need. But we've just got to treat these next 3 like 1-game shootouts and hope we can get there.
When you look at the what's more possible to you? Do you think the Green Bay Packers lose out or the Chicago Bears lose out?
I mean, both scenarios are possible. The Bears have still got to play. Obviously, the Bears and Packers have got to play one another, so one of them is losing. There's a case where, the Bears have then got to play the 49ers, who are right in the hunt for the NFC West playoff spot as well, and the Rams and Seahawks play one another this week, so if the 49ers win again, they're going to be right up for it. Then they're going to play the Vikings. Vikings are going to want to spoil all our seasons, so you can still do it both ways. Now, it's going to be difficult, logic says, but, at the end of the day, both of the teams we're chasing have schedules which can trip them up. And our schedule is one that we can win out, possibly. So, it's the fate is still landed for us at this point. But you would say having the tiebreaker over the Bears is that gives you the best opportunity. So you would hope it would be through them. But we can go through the Packers as well if need be.
And just so you guys know, in the Duke Crew comment section, I'm having issues going through the comments that they won't click. So having some internet issues or server issues, it would appear this morning. All right, but let's talk about the Detroit Lions. We all get it. The Lions offense has been pretty good this year as a totality. The defense, for the second straight year, beat up by injuries, not the greatest. Where do you think some of the strengths are for this Lions defense, and how do you get it to perform at an even better level these last 3 games?
I mean, I look at the Rams game, and the defense wasn't great, but I'm looking at individuals here. I think there are certain individuals that need to up their game and do better, because it's not like we didn't have chances to stop the Rams. They had 2 4th-down conversions, and on 2 of them, Hallett missed an open field tackle on Kyron Williams to stop a short run conversion. That's one drive turned away. And then the other, DJ Reed, with one of the worst plays I've ever seen, where he lets Puka Nacua run up to him 2 yards, push him in the chest, run off, catch a ball, and get a first down on a 4th and 4. Like, we're paying DJ Reed $16 million this year to go out there and not allow that to happen. It's a disgusting play from him. But those 2 plays, in essence, that's 2 drives you're kicking away, and they got 10 points off them 2 drives. You know, we had the 3 points we gave up just before the half, which we shouldn't have done with 25 seconds left, because DJ Reed, again, gets burned by Puka Nacua deep down the field. You know, at some point, we're going to have to start calling players out for playing bad. You know, it's, you know, we didn't get diced up in parts, but we had opportunities to stop 3 or 4 of these drives, and we, ourselves, our players, lost them. So, you know, I know the defense is, it was 1,800 yards and 130 points in the last 4 games, but it's not helping itself with individual mistakes from players. And quite frankly, some areas not delivering. We got $110 million and a first-round pick invested in our defensive tackle groups to stop the run very specifically, and we let them carve us open in one of the biggest games we've played this season. DJ Reader was bad. Aleem was bad, clearly not healthy after his ACL tear. Tyleek got moved all over the place. He looked like a first-round rookie who was flat in the water. I think we do have the pieces on defense to be able to do much better, but I think the players need to start being held accountable. They're getting the excuse that, oh, it's Shet's fault. Oh, it's injuries' fault. It's not really injuries' fault. Apart from the secondary, your other 2 units are pretty healthy. So we've got to stop making excuses for some of these guys and start holding them to account. We could have held the Rams to much less points in this game if we'd have just executed on key plays. So offensively, we've shown we can hang with anybody. J-Mo and Amon-Ra are the hottest receivers in the NFL right now as a tandem. They look great. Jared Goff's on a heater right now. Jameer, for the most part, is playing really well. So, you know, I look at this through the realism eyes, and I look at it through my optimism eyes. And the optimism eyes still see a lot of reason to be positive this year, despite all that's gone on. We're going to end with most likely a 10-win season. We're going to win at least 2 of these last 3 games, and we're acting like the world's falling in and everything's falling apart. You know, there was a time when we couldn't buy a 10-win season. Caldwell couldn't buy a 10-win season if he went into Walmart and it was on sale for $1. Like, and now that's a bad standard for us. Right. So we've got to keep perspective here. But I think this defense is capable of better. Its players just need to be held more accountable. So I still think we can be a menace on both sides of the ball.
When we look at the Lions' schedule, we all knew coming into the season it was going to be a meat grinder, one of the toughest schedules that the Detroit Lions have faced in an entire season, really in recent memory. A lot of people coming into the season said, man, the Lions would be a top 5 draft pick team, wouldn't make the playoffs, this, that, and the other thing. But the Lions, to your point, they win 1 more game, they're going to have their 4th straight winning season. They win 2 more, you're going to have a 10-win season. What has kept this team from really – I get we compete with Philly, we compete with the Rams, we compete with some of those upper echelon teams. I know somebody said in the comment section we haven't beat anybody good this year. Well, Chicago Bears are potentially going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC, and we beat them. What has kept us from winning more of those upper echelon games?
The trench warfare has really let us down. You're thinking that Eagles game, the offensive line really let us down, and it just didn't do its job right. And we got, the interior just got absolutely decimated. In the Packers games, we've also struggled on the offensive line. Defensively, they've just kind of done us in, and we've not got enough pressure on the quarterback. It's been the trench warfare where we're usually really good, which I think has been sort of putting these close games away from us. Either we can't score enough points or we can't keep enough points out. It's pick your poison, but they're inconsistently been bad. The offensive line, the defensive line, and then they're inconsistently being good, and they don't seem to be syncing together. And you're right, we're 1-3 against the NFC North. We're 1-4 against teams in the NFC playoffs. The Detroit Lions don't deserve to go to the playoffs. That is my realistic take. We don't deserve to go because we have lost all our big matchups. Even the Ravens win looks a little fraudulent now because they're sat there at 6-7.
Right.
But for us, thankfully, the NFL isn't all about deserve and do you. There is an element of luck involved as well, and it's not all about that. Yes, we have lost to a lot of the teams around us, but the fact of the matter is, if you make the playoffs with a 3-win stretch now, do you know what all those results earlier in the season mean when all those teams beat us? They mean absolutely nothing. They're done. They're gone. They're period. Done. It does not matter. You get Philly in the first round of the playoffs in the wild card, whatever, and you beat them. No one's going to care about the result, financial field in the regular season and that they beat us. And no one cares. So, I know it's easy to be downbeat that we've lost all these big. I am as well. Like I say, I've got my realistic glasses on that say the Lions don't deserve to go. I've got my optimistic glasses on in saying, well, okay, yes, we don't deserve to go, but deserve is not the nature of the NFL. Sometimes you get that little bit of luck that gives you a second chance. Sometimes you don't deserve. It's all about how you use that second chance. And despite everything that's gone on, we still have the opportunity of a second chance this season. And again, you get to the playoffs. All you've got to do is play your best football in the playoffs. If this season of completely inconsistent offensive line play culminates in them finally getting there together when they get into the playoffs, if the defensive line finally starts acting like it should in tandem with one another in the run and against the passer when it gets to the playoffs, that is the only thing that matters. If it takes the entire regular season to do that, so be it. It's a process that you go through. Again, the regular season doesn't matter if you bring your stuff to the playoffs. So yeah, you've just got to keep hoping and we get there, and then the opportunity is there. The Lions have playoff experience beneath them now. They've got playoff heartache in there. They've got the nous, the know-how that can overcome some of these issues we've been having against teams who are not as experienced. And all you've got to do is get on a heater at the right time. So, again, we can't give up yet.
Yeah, and to your point, just getting hot at the right time in any professional sport or even collegiate sport, high school sport, whatever. You get hot at the right time, you get healthy at the right time, you go on a run. That's all anybody's going to remember. You mentioned earlier Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown. J-Mo's having a breakout year. Last year was pretty good. This year's better. What do you think has really pushed his game to even another level?
Amon-Ra's injury was probably the best thing that could have happened to J-Mo, and to a degree, Laporta's. I'm not saying it's good for the team, but when Laporta was out and then St. Brown had that knock and J-Mo had to go to been Jared's number one target and been the guy who could get it done, that seems to have unlocked him because they're using him more now in all facets of the game. We've complained for years and years and years that they only use him as a deep threat and they're not using him anywhere else. They're using him all over the field now. They're targeting him early in games against the Rams. We eviscerated the Rams in the first half of this game. People are forgetting that. Jared Goff dissected them. J-Mo and Amon-Ra ran rings around them because they're getting the ball in his hands more. That's 3 consecutive games. He's had 7 catches now. Like, he's not just getting 1 catch for 20 yards or something like that. They're consistently getting the ball in his hands, giving him the trust to take this team on. And we wouldn't be where we are without J-Mo now. Our playoff hopes are dead without J-Mo at this point. I think that added responsibility has just elevated him and given him belief in himself that now the team trust him to be more than just some sort of deep threat and some odd guy they use in the backfield. So, and that's working for Amon-Ra now. You saw J-Mo was stretching the field the other day. It was allowing Amon-Ra a lot more space in the middle of the field. He was clearing linebackers out, safeties out, allows Amon-Ra. So together as a tandem, they're working perfectly now. And again, I don't think there's a better tandem in the league right now than these two. Skill set they bring, big playability of them both. It has been great to see. And him and Goff, for the most part, they've been on a great timing with one another now. There's no timing issues, no passing issues. They look great.
Some fans say we should tank now. Some say we should just play throughout the rest of the season. Lions are built on grit. They're built on being tough at the end. Do you think it would be in the Lions' best interest to tank now and potentially get the 14th, 15th pick versus the 18th pick if they were to win out and miss the playoffs?
So stupid. It's such a stupid argument. Like, there's no difference between 14 and 20. No difference that you can't trade for. There's no transcendent talent that's going to be there at 14 that's not going to be there at 20 or whatever. And again, you've got a legitimate chance to make the playoffs. You wait, again, I've been more negative than positive this year because of how we've played and how we've played in the big game scenarios, and I'm not happy with it at all. And I think this team has taken a step back. But at the same point, again, the playoffs are an absolute crapshoot. Washington came in last year. No one gave them a chance whatsoever. And they got on a heater at the right time. They had that backs against the wall mentality, and they went all the way to the championship game, kind of like we did the year before. You still have an opportunity now to rally off 3 wins. And if you come onto the playoffs on the back of 3 wins, you're confident, you're winning games, you're on form. It obviously means some of the issues you're having are coming together at this point. You know, so why are you going to waste a good opportunity of getting to the playoffs? You're just mad that they're not getting there the way you want them to. You want them to get there with 15 wins destroyed. Last year, forget about it. You can get into the playoffs with 15 wins. You can get into the playoffs with 8 wins. At the end of the day, nothing separates them 2 teams when you get there. It is a one-game shootout. There could be injuries, like last year with us, injuries hurt us. There's so many different equalizers that could be had out there at this point. So the thought of even saying you're going to tank now is stupid. And Brad drafts really well. Doesn't matter whether he's at pick 5 or whether he's at pick 30. He still genuinely finds a really good player. So no, you've got a playoff opportunity. Just because you're mad they're not doing it the way you want them to doesn't mean that you've got to throw your toys out the pram and demand that we start tanking. I know what it is, and it's a big chunk of people. It's the people who first got on the train that Brad Holmes might not be the hot shit that we all think he is. And people are now desperate to tell you that they were the first one to call Brad out for being a fraud, that they were the first one to say he wasn't doing. That's all they want from you. They want your attention because they want to be the first guy to prove him wrong. You could possibly have a 10-11 win season here and get to the playoffs. What the hell is wrong with that? No Lions GM in recent history has done that on a bad year either. You just, you know, it's sad, really. Some people want us to miss the playoffs so they can push an agenda. You do not tank in the slightest. You go out there, you give everything you've got for the last 3 games, you get to the playoffs, and then you are going to be completely and utterly written off by everybody. And that's when this team functions at its best. I don't like it when the team functions like that way. I want them to act like champions and walk around like champions and not try and get their back put to the wall. But that's just the fact of the matter. They play hard when they're written off. So anything can happen at this point. And as a 7 seed, we're incredibly dangerous. So no tanking, no giving up, no trying to be miserable about it. Let's just go on and do what we can and move forward.
Yeah, you know, the only thing I'd say, and I don't mean this disrespectfully to anybody out there, if you are a coach and an athlete and you're going to look across that team and say, hey, we've got a chance to get in the playoffs, but let's go ahead and tank here so we can get 3 spots higher in the draft, you're a loser.
You lose your credibility with the players.
What kind of message are you sending to the players, let alone the fan base? We'd rather draft 3 spots higher than potentially get into the playoffs and have any sort of chance to win the Super Bowl. Everybody's here is Super Bowl bust. Everybody here wants the Detroit Lions to win. And when they say, hey, well, you get in as the last seed, you're not going to win it. Check the NFL history. In the last 20 years, nearly 50% of the Super Bowl winners, or people that make the Super Bowl, I should say, were wild card teams. So I don't know. It's a bold strategy to win a Super Bowl by tanking and not making the playoffs. I can only tell you, me as a coach, that is the most offensive thing ever to tell me to not play to win, not coach to win, tell the players, lay down and be losers, forfeit games. Yeah, I would, no disrespect to anybody. If some GM told me that, I'd slap him in the face and say, you can just fire me now. Any player of mine that said that was okay, I would cut your ass as quick as I could because you are a cancer to the team. And those in the comment section think that 3 draft spots are going to be better. I would remove you from the franchise as fast as possible, pour gasoline on it, light the fire myself. That is a cancer you do not want in a locker room in any way, shape, or form. If you're not playing to win, whether it's drafting, scouting, coaching, playing, you are the worst type of person to have on a sports franchise, my humble opinion.
Absolutely. Right. And just, sorry, very quickly, me saying all this, by the way, is me not, and I've just said, be very optimistic, Brad. This is not me saying there are not problems on this team. Right. We need to sort a lot in the offseason. The secondary needs a new revamp. The defensive line is going to need a revamp. The offensive line is going to need a revamp. There are a lot of holes on this team. Me saying You don't give up on the season. Let's not write off Brad Jett. Is not saying there are not issues. There are clearly issues on this team, but at the same point, as you said, we've got a chance to get to the dance. All you've got to do is have a ticket, and it's how you work with that ticket when you cash it that matters. And there could be a lot of very silly people looking at this when we get to an NFC Championship game. So going, oh boy, 6 weeks ago I was really saying stuff I shouldn't have been. But just by being optimistic is not saying there are not problems here. But we have a chance and we have to take it. And are you going to bet against this team with his back against the wall? I sure as hell am not. Again, the only people who want us to fail now have an agenda so they can push their content. That is it. And I will say that happily. Come at me, whatever.
Oh, I'm all for it. And again, for those, again, I can only say it for me. My mentality doesn't need to be your mentality, but I would never, ever walk into a game as a coach, an athlete, a GM, a front office person, anywhere in my history and say, hey, we're going to try to lose here today. It'd be one thing, maybe, if there's one game left in the season, we have no chance at the playoffs. Maybe then, but that'd be about it. Lions do have a chance, and I do think because the offense is so high-powered, doesn't mean it's the best, every drive. But let's face it, across this season, the last several years, it's hard to find an offense better than this one. You get into the playoffs, the right situation, maybe the defense makes one or two big plays and stops. Can this team potentially, in your opinion, Anthony, beat anybody out there because of the offense?
Of course you can. You've got Mahogany coming back this week, so that's going to fix your issue at left guard when he's back up and running again. You've on offense, you are pretty much healthy apart from your tight ends, but we've shown we don't need the tight ends, because we've got two in-form wide receivers right now, and we've got a jumbo package to work with the run. So you can do that. And again, like I said on defense, I know the stats aren't pretty. And again, I'm looking at this, but I saw multiple opportunities for us to can 3 or 4 Rams drives the other day, which we missed by basic mistakes. You fix those basic mistakes. I know it's not easy, but you fix those, and all of a sudden that 41 is down to 24 or something like that. And these games are winnable. And, this is the learning period, the regular season is. Again, if we fix these issues for the playoffs, we can beat anybody on their day. I think it's just we've struggled. Like, the offensive line is our identity. And it's the first time in this entire tenure where we've really had to question it because we've not had a load of vets and stuff in there. And it's led to issues. Again, the injuries in the secondary haven't helped. We're missing 4 of our guys. Reed's coming off a serious injury and is clearly not healthy. And Meek's hobbled up and not playing properly. Like this, we don't have a single fully fit, healthy starter in there. So it's an issue which we're having to deal with. But we're still in games, which bodes well for us. So, at this point, you have to have your optimistic glasses on. You can't just down tools every time they don't do it the way you want to. Again, I'm disappointed. I'm angry. I hate the fact that we're losing these games to big teams around us because I want to go out there and I want to mouth off to other teams' fans that, I support the best team. I can beat your team. I want that. I'm disappointed as hell, but I still understand that the story is not 100% told yet. The saying, he who laughs loudest. Other teams have laughed so far, but is that the last laugh? Potentially not. Potentially, we get that. That's the sweetest. That's the nicest, and we can still do it. So we still have to believe in it.
Well, all right, Anthony, as always, I want to thank you for making a little time out of your busy schedule, your work week, all the above, to come join us over here in the Dew Crew. Why don't you go ahead and give yourself a shout-out to everybody where they can find you, your great content, and help support all you do.
You can find me at Roar of the Lions UK. We're a group of Detroit Lions fans from across the pond. So if you want to get your Lions news and views from a British perspective, then come check us out. We're live on Mondays doing game reviews. I talk college ball on Wednesdays. If you want to come and chat college football, we do previews Thursdays. We're live during the games usually. So just drop by, say hi. I know some of you do. We really appreciate it. And obviously, I appreciate you, Dan, very much. I appreciate the Dew Crew. I hope you all have a fantastic week. It is my birthday on Sunday, so hoping for a birthday dub. So, we're gonna beat the Steelers because I'm gonna get a birthday win here. So don't worry about that. We've got it in hand, folks. We're great. And then, have a great Christmas period. Everyone might see you before, but if not, enjoy it. Enjoy your time with your family, your friends, and just enjoy things. We're still alive. The season is not over. We still got a chance. Let's just keep believing, even if it doesn't look great right now.
Don't stop believing, somebody once said. All right, Anthony, you go have a good one. Hopefully we catch you before the holidays, but if not, hopefully you have a great birthday, great Christmas, and everything else, man. Thanks for coming on the show.
Appreciate all of you. You have a lovely day, everybody. Take care. Bye.
We'll see you now. All right, let's finish this one up. Let's see, David. Lions can win 7 in a row. Let's start at number 1 and see what happens. Yeah, and hey, I get maybe my mentality doesn't work for everybody, but I don't walk into anything in life thinking, man, we're going to lose. You know, you got 7 games. You have 7 opportunities to win. That's how I view it. That's how I coach. You're down 20 with 10 minutes to go. I think you can come on back. But you know what? If you don't believe you can win, if you don't believe you can make a comeback, you're right. And you're going to coach that way. You're going to play that way. And guess what's not going to happen? You ain't going to win. Let's see. What do you got? Tesla is taller and faster than Puka. Nakua, yet he can't even get the ball thrown his way. It literally catches just about everything thrown his way. Yeah, some of it's just, route structure. He's typically the number 3 or 4 option in a pass pattern. That's why you're seeing St. Brown and Jay Wow kind of emerge into elite level receivers as a tandem. Thomas, look, we're at the top scoring team in the NFL again. 30.6 points per game. Our problem giving up 25. Yeah, I agree with that. No disrespect there. I agree. Art, what do you got? We are still over 500. We can still get 11 wins this season. I agree with that fully there, Brent. 100%. Any more? You see how the Rams played TK 85, never gave him a chance to run it back? Yeah, they showed some real good respect. They didn't want any part of the TK man. Brent, great point. Anthony, JK, I say pray to Vegas, and we'll pray away. Harp, just kidding. JK 71, Vegas and gambling is the problem. Maybe. Thomas, look, we're all talented enough to win the last 3, but what have we shown the last 2 months to do that? Nothing. Hey, you know how you change that? Win the next couple of games. Because let's just go back, say, 5 years ago. How many of us said, man, we'll never win 4 straight seasons in a row? Then we did. Theo, I heard Brad Holmes recently signed Emmanuel Mosley again for a cornerback help. Said after the 2 ACL injuries to both knees, he should be good to go. All right. Kerry, I'm not saying anything about getting there. We'll just do that then. Phil, Ant-Man on a tear. Yes, he is. Pierce, we're good. Coach Tiny K, hey, Coach and Duke Crew, how you doing? Hopefully a good morning day. Bo, that's a monologue with an exclamation point. Brett, JK, it's like last night. Fan Fuel had the Pistons losing. They ran it to 10,000 times, and it came up with Pistons losing. All right, well, it happens. JK, only the tip of the iceberg on that. Tella, sounds like Detroit Syndicate wants the Lions to fail so he can say he was right about Brad Holmes. Maybe he is. Unfortunately, I haven't seen Derek's stuff in a bit. Just this time of year with coaching myself and then scouting duties, just hard to find the time. Southwest, who cares about fake Lions fans? They can kick rocks with no socks. All right. Let's see. Any more? Maybe they should look at Kansas City for a new OC coach. Maybe, although their OC is pretty much their head coach. Andy Reid. Brent, for sure. Gary, I said get a proven vet edge, and I'll say it this year. Probably not much of an opportunity at this point, though. Maybe next off season. To your point, Thomas. If we matched Green Bay attacking our problem on D, lack of pass rush, and now can't stop the run either, at least we're consistent. Okay. The one thing I can say is now, Thomas, Green Bay doesn't have a first-round pick. They don't have Clark in the middle, and now they don't have Michael Parsons. So they went 0 for 3 at this point. Pierce Carey also been saying that for years. J.K. Harp, definitely. Hoogadoo. You tell him, man. Exclamation point. Theo, Roy Lopez was actually a great pickup by Holmes. I would agree. Obviously he's not a starter for us, but he's been more than a good piece. I like Robinson. I like Alex Anzalone, Zettler when he was here. I think he signed some good players. Is everybody going to work? Probably not. That's unrealistic, but Avonte Maddox is working as well. Jake Bates was a free agent signing as well. Have your opinions there. Brent, I've been saying that gambling is an issue years ago. I was called all sorts of names, but now they are coming around to it. It is unfortunately picking up some steam. Whether there's validity to it, I leave you to come to your own devices on. I've been reporting for national media and such since 2008. Something seems to have changed since then. My opinion, it does not need to be your opinion. I think Roger Goodell is not a fan of the Ford family, and his personal views are expressed on the field from time to time. Hootscar Blade, Lions not tanking. You don't want that mentality in your players in the locker room either. Yeah. And again, I know I spoke on it, just my opinion. I would never hang out with somebody as a player or coach who's like, hey, I'm okay with losing. I don't want that person around me. I don't want them around my team. I don't want their infection spreading. Get rid of them as fast as you can, because once a player, a locker room, a team starts thinking it's okay to lose, yeah, you're never going to win. Get that person the hell out of here as fast as you can. Disinfect everything. Burn down the house if you have to, but get it out of here. Kim, don't care how bad it gets. Never give up and lose out for drafting. Just goes to show how everybody's got their opinion. I can only tell you, I wouldn't stand it at any level, and not just in sports. When I run a business or anything, if you're okay with slacking, you're okay with being out of here. Let's see. GSS, tell me if I'm crazy, but does Aaron Rodgers look like Great Kalamazoo from the Flintstones in that football helmet? Maybe he does. Let's see. Bo coach looks like he's wearing a priest or rabbi hat. Hey, it happens, man. It happens. Let's see, Larry. The phrase armchair quarterback or GM is always easier than the real thing. Yeah. And, thankfully, I've been able to do both, not a quarterback, but be a GM and a coach. And there's a lot of people that have ideas. Sometimes I just look at them and just say, hey, everybody's got a different opinion. Thomas, I love Brad and Dan. Exclamation point. I would extend both now 10 years. But it's obvious at this point what needs to improve the team. Just do it. Yeah. Hopefully they do this offseason. JK, you don't tank is you won more than 6 one someone told me. Yeah, let's don't tank indeed. Okay, do Bo laughing. Theo, agreed. Don't give Whiteside a shot. Well, why they don't agree? Why don't they give Whiteside a shot? The only thing I can say is the coaches must not see enough out of him to think that he's one of the better options. That's all I can come up with. JK, if Brent playing to lose can be a cancer, you would be breeding failure to the team. Yes, that's kind of where I'm going with that. Moonscar, and football is not like the NBA where one player can completely change our franchise. There are only 1 or 2 available every year. So, yeah, to your point in the NBA, I get it. One player can egregiously change the game because you're talking roughly, somebody who's out there is one of 5 players. Football, it's a different world. Phil, if anything, maybe some medical staff or conditioning staff could be. Gary, in your opinion, the wasting Hutch's ability if you don't have someone pushing opposite Hutch. Let's see if they can get somebody. Southwest, look at the Giants. Good defense. Offense was below average. Beat the undefeated Patriots. We got great offense, average defense. Yeah, to your point, then just think if the Giants that year that you're talking about, Southwest, made it as a wild card team. What if they listened to the fans and said, hey, let's just tank instead of getting the 18th pick, we get the 14th pick? He would have taken a Super Bowl away. Pierce Carey, we need someone to win one-on-ones over there for sure. Tom on the run. Lions fans need to chill. NFL is crazy competitive. If we improve edge rusher, stay healthy, we'll be Super Bowl contenders. I like the way you're foretelling. Cynthia, good morning all. Exclamation point, never get up. Never indeed. JK, great MA choke on coming back. Okay. And Pat, I still believe. Tom, this is one of my favorite Lions channels. Thanks for that, man. I enjoy being here. Hopefully you enjoy being a part of the Do Crew. Thomas, let's just say this. If we had Chicago or Green Bay's D, we're 12-2. Our problem is the D has fallen apart, and what happens to Knuckles? He has almost totally disappeared. JK Mahogany. Let's see, David. Nobody wants to lose. Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. Vince Lombardi, the Let's Go Lions, one pride. Well said indeed. Theo, what the heck is going on with all these injuries? Is Campbell pushing these guys too hard at practice? Lions turf field, strength and conditioning? Combination of probably a lot of different stuff. All right, guys, I got to get out of here and get ready for work. Sorry I couldn't get through all of the comments, but got through the vast majority of them. Hey, if there is breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as soon as possible. If you would be so kind before departing, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. Take care. Enjoy your day. Hey, long time no see. Philippines On Demand. Good to see you. And I hope you all do something kind for somebody you don't know. We'll see you guys all on the next Lions Talk Live. Hey, have a phenomenal day, everybody. You're still here? What are you doing here? It's over. The show's over. Go home.